Yes, good afternoon, officers. Time for a short video. Today's topic is Khaan Quest, Mongolia based. So, peacekeeping mission adi fundamental ga. So, small details about that particular topic. News lo vachindi, therefore, meek information undali because you are preparing for UPSC. So, Khaan Quest, it's a multinational peacekeeping exercise 2025. So, let's look into the major details of this particular topic. Fast quick glance iddam. చూడండి ఒకసారి జాగ్రత్తగా. ఎక్సైజ్ నేమ్ ఇస్ ఖాన్ క్వెస్ట్. హోస్ట్ నేషన్ ఇస్ మంగోలియా. ఉలాన్ బతార్. జూన్ 14 to 28 ఈ ఎక్సైజ్ జరుగుతుంది. ఇండియా ఇస్ అ పార్టిసిపేషన్. ఒక 40 member contingent from కుమావున్ రెజిమెంట్ battalion including 1 woman officer and 2 women soldiers are included. So these are the major details. It's a 40 member contingent team with 1 woman officer and 2 women soldiers. It's a peacekeeping mission. Let's look at the details of this. Multinational military exercises. Joint military training operations జరుగుతాయి. Multiple nations తో కోఆపరేషన్ పెరుగుతుంది, రెడీనెస్ పెరుగుతుంది, interoperability కూడా పెరుగుతుంది. So this is the concept and this is the explanation of that particular concept. Peacekeeping capabilities ante role of armed forces in maintaining peace, especially where in conflict zones, often under the UN or other multinational mandates. That is the meaning of peacekeeping capabilities. These are all the important concepts from that particular exercise. Women in armed forces reflects India's efforts in promoting gender inclusion, defense roles aligning with global military diversity trends. So this is a very important point. You can use it for your mains as well as for your prelims. రెండింటికి చాలా పనికొస్తుంది. ఇండియా మంగోలియా రిలేషన్స్ ఎట్లా బాగుపడతాయి? స్ట్రాటజిక్ పార్ట్నర్షిప్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ డిఫెన్స్ కోఆపరేషన్, ఫస్ట్ పాయింట్. కల్చరల్ టైస్ లైక్ బుద్ధిజం అండ్ షేర్డ్ రీజనల్ స్టెబిలిటీ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఆర్ దేర్ ఫర్ ఇండియా as well as Mongolia. Because China Mongolia పడదు, so India should take advantage. As simple as this. Soft power diplomacy, military diplomacy enhances India's image as a responsible peace promoting regional power కింద పనికొస్తుంది. So mains ki చాలా important. All these points are very useful for your mains. So that is the reason I have mentioned the explanation of each of this. So multinational military exercises, దాని వల్ల ఏంటిది మనకు బెనిఫిట్? Peacekeeping capabilities, what is the meaning of it? Women and armed forces shows gender parity and gender inclusion, and we are following the global trends. And finally, India-Mongol relations, especially through soft diplomacy as well as military diplomacy. Only diplomacy is though. These are all the points that you have to mention for this Khaan Quest. Next, India's global image etla perugutundi valla. Impact area is India's global image boosts India's profile as a contributor to peacekeeping missions and regional security. Ronditki chala panikostundi. 2 pointers for mains. We will be ready for military preparedness, troop interoperability, experience in varied terrain as well as climates kuda we will be ready for it. India Mongolia ties etla develop avutundi? India's Act East policy ki manchi strength istundi and strategic partnership especially in Central Asia. China ki takkaredaniki. Next, women empowerment in defense, India's commitment to gender inclusion in military operations. And multilateral diplomacy, India's role in multinational military forums and its voice in regional security dialogues. India's importance is also being reflected through these peacekeeping missions. Now, actually, let's look at what is this Khaan Quest. Enti asalu deen katha ento chudamu. So look at all this. Khaan Quest started in 2003 as a bilateral exercise between United States and Mongolia. వీళ్ళతో స్టార్ట్ అయింది. అది మెల్లగా మల్టీనేషనల్ ఫార్మాట్ తీసుకుంది in 2006. So this is very useful for your prelims. Because Khaan Quest ఎవరితో, is it a multinational thing? Where it started అనే క్వశ్చన్ అడగచ్చు prelims లో. So US and Mongolia started it in 2003. Slowly that spread its wings. In 2006 it became a multilateral thing and multinational thing. So Mongolia and India shared strong historical cultural ties, especially through the religion of Buddhism, supporting strategic cooperation. The Indian contingent features women soldiers, India's progressive move towards inclusive military operations. Mongolia's rugged landscape, chala ఇటువంటి ఉంటుంది ల్యాండ్స్కేప్. అండ్ ఎక్స్ట్రీమ్ వెదర్ కండిషన్స్, ఇట్స్ అ వాల్యుబుల్ గ్రౌండ్, ఆఫర్స్ వాల్యుబుల్ గ్రౌండ్ ఫర్ మౌంటైన్ వార్ఫేర్ ట్రైనింగ్. దిస్ ఈస్ ద మేజర్ పాయింట్. మౌంటైన్ వార్ఫేర్ ట్రైనింగ్కి మనం కూడా రెడీగా ఉండాలి. So India is one of the largest contributors to UN peacekeeping missions, and Khaan Quest aligns with this particular legacy. That is the added conclusion that you are supposed to give. So very important point for your mains ki chala important. Largest contributor to UN peacekeeping missions is India, and Khaan Quest syncs with it. So synergetic ga manaku chala important. We can give that as an example of how India not only contributes from itself but also it makes other countries also contribute towards peacekeeping missions. So danivalla India's dialogue, India's take on things, India's strength is completely being reflected, and how other countries are following us. That is what we have to understand. From an international relations angle, you see using soft power, how India is able to influence so many countries in the world for good things. This is what we have to focus on. And finally, probable UPSC questions. IR internal security law, multinational military exercises, India global role, peacekeeping, defense, diplomacy, gender inclusivity. So ఇది మనకి మెయిన్స్ కి చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఫిలిమ్స్ లో మనకు వచ్చేది ఖాన్ క్వెస్ట్ లొకేషన్ ఎక్కడ ఉంది? మంగోలియా. చెప్పాను కదా, ద ప్లేస్ ఇస్ ఉలాన్ బటార్. దిస్ ఇస్ ద ప్లేస్ లొకేషన్. సో మీరు ఒకసారి మ్యాప్ పాయింటింగ్ చేసుకోండి దాని మీద. అండ్ ఫైనల్లీ host country entity, participating countries entity, women participation in the mandi, Khaan regiment. That is very important for your prelims. And already again a question 2007 adigaru, write a short note on Indian all women contingent to Liberia ani a question already adigaru. Ee sari Mongolia మీద అడిగే question ఉంటుంది. So that's the short video for today. Khaan Quest మనం గుర్తు పెట్టుకోవాల్సింది, Mongolia's rugged terrain, military operations పనికొస్తుంది, strong historical ties ఉన్నాయి. United States and Mongolia started this, now it became a multinational thing. And India is the largest contributor of UN peacekeeping missions, and Mongolia is also in line with, through Khaan Quest, it is in line with our peacekeeping missions. And look at this, India's global image, military preparedness, India-Mongolia ties, women empowerment, multilateral diplomacy, and all the details have been mentioned. And finally, multinational military exercises, peacekeeping capabilities, women and armed forces, India-Mongolia relations, software diplomacy. All the explanations have been clearly mentioned so that it will be very useful for you for revisions. Very important. So host nation is Mongolia, issue is Khaan Quest, Ulan Bator. Please remember this point. Prelims ki chala important manaki. June 14 to 28. Indian participation, 40-member team, Khaan regiment, 1 woman officer and 2 women soldiers. That shows our gender inclusivity programs. 2 women soldiers, gender inclusivity, and we are following the trend of the world. So this is the Khaan Quest. So have a glance at this. Revise karo. Watch the video again. Collect all the important points. I have clearly mentioned what are the prelims pointers and the main pointers. Write it down, jot it down, and make your UPSC preparation simple and lucid. Okay? So that's all for today. Have a nice day. Please take care. Shaman Pairikonla signing off. Bye-bye.